People who decide to mow their lawns before 9 AM. Why do you do this? Duh. You have to catch the grass while it's still sleeping. Can't believe there are people who still don't know this. SMH my head, some people. This is Texas bro, after 9 you might die of heat stroke. Same with Arizona. You will die lol. There's something about having grass in Arizona that seemed very weird. In the summer, because I want to beat the heat/humidity as much as possible. My brother in Charleston SC tells me that between mid-June and September, he has to finish mowing before 8 AM, otherwise the humidity is unbearable. I live in Charleston, can confirm. I'm also a welder, so I wear jeans to work year round. There are days where it feels like I pissed myself because I sweat so much. Early morning is the best time for outside labor. It's not hot and the sun doesn't burn. I find it easier as the sun is starting to set. It's cooling down. And as a bonus is the grass is clumping together from the morning dew. Sun starting to set from the morning dew. I'm confused. I obey the laws. Mowing them makes them angry. Especially the FBI guys watching all of us. Shit, I've spoken too much. How much do you know? Mowing the lawn midday can burn the fresh cut grass. If it's a region that gets super hot, cut it early and the grass won't burn and die. I'm trying to passively harm my grass every chance I get. The healthier it is, the more often I have to mow it. Great tip. Thanks. I'm with you. Drink water and cut in the middle of the day. Got it. I don't mow before 8 AM. That's my version of being polite. But I start early because I've had my lifetime exposure to solar radiation and heat. Pale skin. Lived in deserts a lot. Had many outdoor jobs. Had heat stroke at least once, and by now I really ought to stay out of it. Sunscreen makes me sweat like a horse and burns my eyes. But I use it anyhow. I do yard work early to be done by 11 AM. I go back again if need be between 4 and 5. It's the heat and sun. Do you use chemical sunscreens? I can't account for the sweat, but any burning sensations that get from sunscreen has usually been because of the chemicals, usually the mineral/zinc, and are much gentler for my skin. So maybe ITD help you too. Baby sunscreens in particular are good for sensitive skin. The only downside personally is the white cast you'll get, but you just gotta rub it in real good. There's a beer holder on my lawnmower, so getting out to cut the grass is the only excuse to drinking at 9 AM on a Saturday I can find. Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. As someone who does this for a living, we work 7 to 3 and try to get a lot of work done before it gets really hot and humid. I get people complaining because it's early, but if we were to wait for everyone to wake up, half the job would be done and people would complain. So work early and get complaints, or start later and not finish and get complaints. There's no win, and in the end I'm just trying to do my job and go home. It sucks because I had a baby and somehow the lawn guys always came during baby's nap. I never complained though, because it's not their concern to care about me or my baby. It just sucked that the timing seemed to coincide. Lol. I cut my own grass for a while with a push mover and edged and bush trimmed with manual tools. I was in a neighborhood with houses close together and everyone had napping babies, me included. I thought they would appreciate it and also convert, but eventually got a lot of questions about why wasn't my husband doing it, or if he was working so much why couldn't he hire someone. Finally they said what they really meant, which was it looked terrible. Cracks me up. Because they get up at 5 AM and 9 is basically the afternoon to them. I'm a morning person and I want to cut the grass early, but I don't want my neighbors to hate me. Doing the garden work early would be a dream come true. Get tea out of the way. I need to dispose of the bodies before the neighbors wake up. That's a real messy way of doing it. I'll dispose of you. Knock it out early, not as hot. As someone who works 12-hour days, it's a matter of getting it done when I have a window. Because I have a bunch of other shit to do today and I want my shower as soon as possible. Mowers I don't care too much about as they aren't that loud. I have a neighbor who is a leaf blower jockey and has been out there at 10 at night with it. Is the Georgia Zoo really that great? Zoo Atlanta is alright. It has pandas, which is their main attraction. There's no perfect time to make noise. Unfortunately, everyone has different sleep cycles, and we base noise level laws off of the majority. I'm sure 9 AM is better than mowing a lawn at 2 AM. I tried mowing my lawn once around 2 AM. It did not go well. I was quite drunk. I think 9 is fine, even if I'm still in bed. Our builders start at 7 AM installing roofs and laying brick, and our hoe weed eats at 8, so 9 sounds like a dream. Most of our neighbors have kids and sports and events to get to before noon. And May to September it can hit 90 to 105 degrees, so I get it. Ashamed to admit I spent longer than 0 seconds wondering why an hoe weed was and why its meal times would disturb you. This is amazing. Lol. I've wondered about this. I'm guessing people do it for one of two reasons. 1. To beat the heat of the day, or 2. They're just the type of person who likes to get shit done as soon as possible. I work a full-time job with very unusual hours, which results in me usually getting to bed between 4:30 AM and 5 AM. I have a couple neighbors who will sometimes mow at, like, 8 AM. It usually wakes me up. I groan to myself, stuff earplugs in my ears, and try to go back to sleep. People can't be expected to accommodate my weird hours, but I sure wish they'd sometimes wait to fire those mowers up. Lol. I'm right there with you. Have worked at night for years and dealt with this. Now, it's rare noise wakes me up at all. I did have a neighbor once who would only mow and stuff in the morning. If he knew I was off the night before, he could tell by my car, which was really nice of him. Because it's still cool outside. It's stuck in hot, bro. Even as an 18-year-old who hates mornings, I'd much rather mow the lawn around 7 than wait till noon. Especially since I live in the panhandle. I also just like getting it out of the way, and I'll treat myself to a decent breakfast for getting it out of the way. IKR. It gets so ducking dry and hot in the panhandle. Well, a couple reasons. The first is mowing before 9 pretty much ensure I get all my work done before the day really gets hot. But secondly, and honestly more importantly, cutting your grass during the hottest portions of the day is bad for it. Your grass will lose more moisture than if you had cut it earlier. And pretty much, and time between 7 and 8 AM is fair game to start. At some point we have to decide when it's okay for people to make noise, and those are when the noise restrictions typically go off. Because it is hot after 9. But the grass is always wet. You gotta wait for that shit to dry out. People who can sleep until after 9 AM. Why did you decide to not have children? So I can sleep until after 9. It is 10:15 now, and time for second sleep. See you after 1. For me that is the hardest thing about being a parent. I used to be a night person, but now I'm forced to being a morning person. I never feel rested anymore. A lion to me is about 8 AM on Sunday, if I'm lucky, and me and the wife take turns having that lion. People who sleep until 9 AM and want the world to wait for them to wake up. Why do you do this? Because we don't get off of work until 3 AM. As someone who doesn't wake up until 10 on the weekends, why would anyone care? I admire their ability to get up that early. To be fair, I live in a city and it's about lawnmower loudness all the time, so I'm pretty used to it. Because I'm an asshole who nuts while thinking about how I wake people up early as duck. I didn't know this was so divisive. Not a morning person, but I would wake up early in the Houston summer to mow a lawn. Yard work here is tough after 9. I can't even take the dog for a walk between 10 and 7. Because they could live in an area where it gets hot AF. It's cooler out. It gets hotter as the day goes on. I don't get why people do that. All the grass sticks to the mower because there's still dew on it. It's going to be in the 90s today, so do it while still in 70s. Since I have tiny lawns, I bought a rechargeable electric one. It's great. I can mow at midnight if I wanted. To get back at my neighbors, who were up until 3 AM playing loud shitty music in their front yard. Fine, I'll do my mowing at 11:30 PM for duck's sakes. Yeah, this is not a question, but just something that annoys you. We do it because 5 AM seems a bit early. Morning is the worst time of day to cut your grass because there is dew on the lawn. The best time to cut your grass is in the evening. I prefer to cut mine after dinner. If you read up on this, you will find that most books are in agreement. Because you kept me up last night, so here, have some pollen. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.